Voice of the Dons, USF play-by-play man Pat Olson now joins us for our West Coast Conference preview show. Pat, what's the one thing we know about USF basketball at this point?
Well, I think the one thing we know about this USF team is that it's a good team. It's a team that's, it's made its best attempt to play a representative schedule. I think some teams that had good, years a year ago maybe weren't as good this year that USF has found along the radar. But USF, seems to have found all the elements. I think really what we've learned to really get to the answer to your question is that this is a true team. They've got, two bigs along the front line at center. They've got the shot blocking, defending power forward guy in Nate Renfro. They've got a scorer in Minlin. They got a shooter in Matino. They got the senior point guard in Ferrari. They got an athletic, guy off the bench in Bouye. They seem to have all the right pieces and have found that, 7-8 man rotation that may be able to take them far in the West Coast Conference.
44th in KenPom, an 11 seed and in right now in Joe Lunardi's bracket. Why the big improvement in 2018?
Well, I really don't know that it's that big of an improvement, because when you look at what Kyle Smith has done now in his third year, his first year he came in, the team won 20 games. They went to the CBI. They lose in round one. Last year they went to the championship round of the CBI. They won 22 games. This team a year ago played 39 games. So they almost played like a year and a half of basketball. They got guys that, you think about that, 40 ball games with your exhibition somewhere along the way. That gives you a chance to get better. And so this team has had success. They've kind of been right there on the cusp. And this year they really, really did turn the corner.
Some people, Joe Lunardi namely, seem to think that San Francisco right now is the second best team in the West Coast Conference. What is a realistic expectation for the Dons as to where they finish in the WCC this season?
I think that's about where to put USF right now. But in all honesty, everybody is looking at the West Coast Conference saying, all right, Gonzaga is clearly number one. And then you have this big, logjam of 2 through 7, a lot of teams, USF, BYU, San Diego, LMU. There's a whole bunch that can, St. Mary's obviously has always been there. That can, but why not first place? Is Gonzaga that unbeatable? USF has gone toe-to-toe with, some pretty good teams. I mean, they played a Buffalo team that only has one loss in the championship game of the Belfast Classic, and they lose by 4. I think they really feel they can match up with anybody. So who knows? They get Gonzaga at home early. We'll see how it goes, but I certainly think that USF can crack that top 3 that seems to have been owned by, Gonzaga, St. Mary's, BYU.
Pat, great stuff. We know you're excited, as are we, about what's to come in West Coast Conference basketball. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me on.